Hello, everyone, and I'm Gary Maloney here for Sacktown Slam. Now, just to tell everybody, there are two things I really wanted to hit on before I started, and the first one was about Dana Brooke. And, I heard about this story late last week, and I didn't want to report on it till I knew what was going on. And I know I speak ill of Dana Brooke's wrestling ability a lot on this show, but I think that, I wouldn't wish this kind of thing on my worst enemy. Her boyfriend, Dallas McCarver, died this past week, and I guess he choked on some kind of food, and he was pronounced dead at the scene, and that's the kind of thing I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So apparently she laid him to rest today, and she's been very active on social media throughout this whole thing, which just shows how brave she is. And I guess her last words today, as far as about her boyfriend, were, "My angel, today is the day I see you at ultimate peace, rest, and happiness. It would be selfish of me to say you needed to stay. We had a lifetime to live. But as I told you before, if you love someone so much, you want the ultimate best for them. And God called your name. It was your time, but I thank you so much for giving me the time I have had with you, making me the best person I will ever be. I just promise me you will be next to me every step of the way. I am living my life for you and only you. Guide me, Dallas, please." I mean, it's sad. And I don't expect her to return to any type of action anytime soon, but I only wish the best for her. I really do. I mean, this is such a disappointing situation to hear about, because you never want to hear about these things happen, but they do. And speaking of things that are happening, if you're watching this and you're in the way of that Hurricane Harvey that's headed from the Gulf of Mexico, I mean, I have loved ones that could affect too. I would never want to be displaced like that. So, if you have a way, help those people out. Anyway, getting back to what we're here for, and that is Monday Night Raw. Now, I'm going to be honest with everyone about Monday Night Raw. I feel like they booked themselves into some bad situations, and there are some things that they did right with Raw, and some things that were super obvious that they did wrong with Raw. So as we go through, I'll point this out. So I'm doing this in a different type of way this time. I've got my camera hooked up to my computer instead of on a music stand, so I can actually read these things and not be on my phone at the same time. So maybe that'll work out better. We will see. Anyway, okay, as this starts, we're live from Memphis as Michael Cole welcomes us. We see the Miz Taraj in the ring, which, by the way, fucking Bo Dallas, man, he's wearing this gold jacket with these like weird gold pants that are of the same design. It's like some gold cheetah print shit. Like, this fool, man, Talk about coming a long way from being a social outcast. You know what I mean? It's like, damn. Anyway, the Miz tarages in the ring. Cole says Hall of Famer Booker T isn't there tonight because he's with family in Houston dealing with Hurricane Harvey, which, as I said, that's a thing. Cole introduces WWE Hall of Famer Jerry Lawler as his replacement. They were in Tennessee tonight, so I kind of saw that happening, and I love the way that these, great people just step up to take the place of other announcers when it is needed. Anyway, Corey Graves hypes tonight's show. Universal Champion Brock Lesnar is there. Cena and Roman Reigns will be made official at No Mercy, and Alexa Bliss will get her match. I've got some gripes about Cena and Roman Reigns, but I'm going to wait to talk about that until I get to that point in the show. Okay, so we go to the ring, and Intercontinental Champion The Miz is out there with Maurice, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas. Miz says just the word respect. That's all he gets out of his mouth is respect. And then suddenly the music interrupts him out of nowhere and comes out Raw General Manager Kurt Angle. Angle comes out to the stage and says he thinks he knows what Miz is going to say. Angle brings up how there was no Intercontinental title match at SummerSlam. Really? Because I also noticed how there was no one fucking there for his match at SummerSlam too. Nerd! Seriously. But says there will be one at No Mercy. Thank goodness. Miz interrupts Angle and goes on about respect and how Angle is disrespecting him. Angle says here to give the title the showcase it deserves. Angle announces that Miz will defend the title next week on Raw against the winner of a battle royal. It's true. It's damn true. The music hits and out comes the Big Show as the first participant. Big Show, man, he was sporting like this really clean shaven look too, man. He had shaved off all of his beard. Like, he is smooth as a baby's bottom right now. I mean, that was kind of like, okay, but what's your point? But, I guess a new look for Big Show, whatever. Matt and Jeff come out next, followed by Finn Balor to another pop as we go to commercial. Well, maybe a pop, but I'm going to be honest with you. That audience sort of was dead in that first match. Even my mom, who doesn't even watch wrestling, was like, what's up with that audience? They just don't seem to care. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I don't know, maybe it's because you fucking took away our beach balls. I mean, I don't have any other reason for it. Maybe they're freaked out they're about to get flooded on. I mean, hell if I know why they were so quiet today. I mean, this is a Monday Night Raw, which did have some decent matches, but logical booking, not so much, but okay. I'll get to that in a minute. Back from the break, and Jason Jordan is the last man out. Kurt Hawkins poses in the middle of the ring, but everyone tosses him out as he is the first elimination. Yeah, Kurt Hawkins was there for about, 10 seconds, and the entire group just lifted him up and threw his ass out of the ring. So face the facts, Kurt Hawkins, you are WWE's resident jobber. So if you want to be treated with respect, go to GFW. Next. Anyway, they turn to Big Show, but he cleans house. Axel and Dallas eliminate Kalisto. I didn't even know fucking Kalisto was in the match. I honestly never even saw Kalisto. So this was funny to hear this. After Show chops him down, Show continues to dominate Luke Gallows and works on Jeff. Show works over Carl Anderson. Yeah, Anderson and Gallows got just massacred by the Big Show in this match. And Show had a big chop to Apollo Crews now, and then Elias. He was just chopping people left and right. It's like a rite of passage. You have to be chopped by the Big Show to be real mad. Gallows and Balor end up eliminating Big Show, which, they're working together. Seems kind of interesting. But we'll see if that goes anywhere. This is interesting for his character to be working with Gallows and Anderson when I think it was about a year ago he wanted nothing to do with them. So we'll see where that goes. Gallows and Balor end up eliminating Big Show. Okay, Matt works on Jason Jordan. Goldust works on Apollo Crews. Elias floors Finn Balor. Elias got in a few decent shots. I figured he wouldn't win this one, but I will say this. I would have been okay with Elias winning this, even if that was the way they wanted to go. So, The Miz is barking orders to Axel and Dallas from ringside. Balor and Elias go at it. Axel and Dallas eliminate R-Truth. Again, didn't even see him in the match. Goldust fights Jordan off now. Matt unloads on Anderson, and while Gallows works on Jeff. Balor fights off Elias. Dallas and Axel hang on. Goldust and Gallows go for it now. The Hardys double team Anderson some more. Goldust and Elias go at it. Goldust catches Elias in a power slam, which looked really awesome, by the way. Anderson hits Goldust with a neck breaker. Gallows and Anderson eliminate Goldust. By the way, after that power slam, Goldust was like, straight up 1990 shit from Goldust. When they give him the chance to get those spots, he can work with it. So, I don't know. There's so many hungry people now in the WWE. He just doesn't, I just don't think he's going to get the chance to get that ball and run with it. So I truly feel like Goldust is just there to be enhancement talent, just like a Ziggler or a Slater or anybody else. Anyway, back from the break, and we see how Elias eliminates Apollo Crews during the commercial. Yeah, because you're so important, you got eliminated during a fucking commercial. The way to go, Titus Worldwide. Jordan works on Elias now. The Hardys attack Gallows and hit a double suplex. They double team Anderson next. Gallows charges, but Matt pulls the top rope and Gallows is eliminated. Matt and Anderson battle on the apron now. Anderson is eliminated, and boy, that thing on the apron, they were outside the ropes, and Matt pulled some shit outside the ropes, but hung on and didn't hit the floor. Both feet did not hit the floor, which was crazy. That's like Kofi Kingston type shit, which is always nice to see in these type of battle royals. Let me see. I lost my place here. Okay, Gallows grabs Matt's leg and pulls him down. Matt has also been eliminated. No DQ in these things. They double team Matt at ringside. Now, Miz gets on the apron and makes sure Dallas isn't eliminated by decking Jeff and Balor as they work on Dallas. Jordan takes Dallas to the corner and fans boo. Miz, Elias, and fans boo the Miz. Okay, Elias works over Jeff in the corner. Again, Elias just had a lot of great spots with different stars in this match. So I get the feeling WWE is very high on Elias, especially how far he made it in this match. Balor unloads on Axel now. Balor goes on and almost eliminates Elias, but he hangs on. Balor unloads on Bo. Then Jordan. Balor and Jeff come face to face in the middle of the ring to a pop. Jeff kicks Balor and goes to work on him. Balor blocks a twist of fate and hits a sling blade. Balor drop kicks Bo into the corner, then nails a double drop kick on Jeff. The lights go out and the graphics flash. The lights come back on, and Bray Wyatt is in the ring. He eliminates Balor. Then the lights come back off, and Wyatt is nowhere to be seen. A shocked Balor is down at ringside. Yeah, Bray Wyatt. Remember how I've been saying that there's not. What are they fighting over? Now they actually have something to fight over. You fucked me over in my chance at the IC title. There you go. Simple storyline. Just like that. There you go. Axel and Dallas double team Jordan, but he fights them off. Jordan eliminates Axel and Dallas at the same time. Now, here is where I have a beef. Jeff takes advantage and eliminates Jordan to earn the title shot. This should have never have happened. Period. Your point, and this is why. Now you're pigeonholed into either making Jeff Hardy the IC champion, or you're going to have one of those times where the Miz Taraj will interrupt the match, get him possibly purposefully disqualified, and then what after next week? Are we going to see a rematch? No mercy of Jeff Hardy and the Miz? Or should you have maybe, I don't know, had freaking Jason Jordan win here to further that storyline. To me, this is illogical booking. Because every fucking person is going to want Jeff Hardy to win that match. And with a supposed roster shakeup, another shakeup coming supposedly in 2 weeks on September 11th, are we going to see Matt and Jeff break up if Jeff wins that title? I mean, because obviously, thus far, I have heard of no plans of them swapping titles, but you never know. I mean, I hope to my stars they do not sit there and take AJ Styles from SmackDown, because that would be absolutely retarded. But, WWE's local resident Kevin Dunn, has no respect for storyline. He just, it's always about where do we book this chick and where do we book this dude. I just feel like Jeff Hardy here, you've either doomed him to fail or you have officially shown everyone your hand. I mean, it's like this is this is way too obvious. Because either he's going to win and then win the rematch at No Mercy, or you're going to screw him out of the title and have Miz have a, hissy fit because at the Miz-tourage, and it'll probably break up the Miz-tourage. I don't know, but I don't like this booking decision. I could pick this booking decision out in so many different ways. And the only way that this really works for Jeff is if Jeff wins. Because if Jeff loses, this does nothing for Jeff. This was a big waste of time for Jeff. Why would you take up this much time from Raw, a Raw that is before kickoff of the NFL, before tip-off of the NBA, and before, baseball playoffs? I mean, it just boggles the mind. I don't see where the payoff is here in making Jeff Hardy, your number one contender. I just don't see it. Anyway, your new contender, after the match, Jeff stands tall as Miz and Maurice look from ringside. We go to and Miz, just the look in his eyes was kind of like, holy shit, I have to face Jeff Hardy now. Well, yeah, exactly. You are facing Jeff Hardy. Then we have Enzo Amore's first cruiserweight match. Okay, we go to the ring, and out comes Enzo Amore with a mic. He shows us how Big Cass suffered a torn ACL last week and talks about deciding to compete with the cruiserweights on 205 Live. He didn't decide to compete with the cruiserweights. He's being punished. Come on, people. 205 Live is a dumpster fire. I mean, and I don't mean to disrespect the cruiserweights at all, because they do great work, but they're not being pushed in the right way. And that whole division is being handcuffed to its weight limit, and I just don't understand it. I mean, they don't do that in New Japan. They sure as hell don't do that in What Culture? So why the hell are you doing it here? Why are you doing it? I mean, they don't do it in Ring of Honor either, as far as I know. So, come on, WWE. I don't even think they did that entirely in WCW. I could be wrong. I mean, if you know, you can always leave a comment in my comment section. But yeah. I mean, this is just anyway. Enzo goes on and introduces his partner for tonight, or his opponent for tonight, Noam Dar. Noam Dar from the break and okay, we see after we come back from the break and the bell rings, they look up at Dar, takes Enzo down. Dar gets the upper hand and mocks Enzo. Yeah, he was doing that stupid thing where he's trying to dance, but looks like he was having a seizure. You know, the little Enzo dance. Yeah, we see the WWE Cruiserweight Champion Neville, whose hair was really oily tonight, watching backstage. Enzo tries to mount some offense, but Dar keeps control and keeps taunting Enzo, which is okay. The finish sees Enzo dump Dar and get the pin out of nowhere. Yeah, it was a DDT, by the way. I mean, this was it was a boring match, and it was a lot of rest holds on Enzo. Nothing too fancy about it. I think this is more or less about teaching Enzo how to wrestle. And you know, I'm for it. If this is going to teach him to wrestle, then it may make him more valuable in other ways. So go for it. I see absolutely no reason why to not do this, but it may seem like a punishment. He obviously has little to no wrestling skill, so teach him. And by the way, I think this is Noam Dar's 18th loss in a row on Raw, but I don't have the exact numbers to prove that, but I remember sometime before SummerSlam he had 17 in a row, which that's horrible. Anyway, after the match, Enzo stands tall as JoJo makes the announcement. Enzo hits the corner and poses. His music hits, and we see Neville backstage watching again. Enzo dances in the back. Charlie's backstage with Neville. Neville calls Enzo a weasel and says if he's supposed to be his competition, he will be champion forever. Yeah, he will be, because Enzo ain't no damn competition, WWE. If you were going to take the title off Neville and put it on Enzo, you are making a big mistake. You have way better talent in that locker room on 205 Live to put that belt on. Do not give that shit to Enzo, especially if he pissed you off. He don't deserve it. Back from break, and out comes Universal Champion Brock Lesnar with Parrot Heyman. Heyman does his promo and says they aren't here to sing the blues. Hello, my name is Paul Heyman. Don't piss off the beast. Don't break the 11th commandment. Yeah, you know that shit. Anyway, his blues about Braun Strowman, and they're here to sing his praises. Heyman says Braun is the most worthy contender for Lesnar's title in all of WWE. Agreed. But now is No Mercy just doesn't feel like the right time. And again, illogical booking. Why would you book this match at a B-level pay-per-view? This is a WrestleMania or even Royal Rumble type scenario for the title. You do not book this fucking No Mercy. You're stupid, WWE. Do not do this. Heyman talks about how SummerSlam was a historic night for Braun as he, the monster, handled the Beast. Heyman talks about how Braun destroyed Brock on Raw the next night and how he shows us footage of what happened. Heyman says you only raise the title when you're monster enough to take the title from Lesnar. Heyman hypes No Mercy from Los Angeles on September 24th. Kind of cool that they kept No Mercy in California, though it's in SoCal instead of NorCal, but okay, whatever. On September 24th, as Braun Strowman will get his opportunity to challenge Lesnar for the title. Heyman says Lesnar wants Braun. He goes on and Lesnar grabs the mic from Heyman, surprising him, and Lesnar says what Heyman is trying to say is Suplex City, bitch. Which they did not blank that out, by the way. I mean, okay. Sometimes I just don't believe this PG crap the WWE is trying to spew. It is not PG at all. Lesnar drops the mic, leaves the ring, and his music hits, and Heyman follows as he leaves. Still to come, Bliss and Banks, also Cena and Reigns, signed a No Mercy contract. We go to the ring, and out comes tag team Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. We go back to commercial. Back from the break, and the champs are standing. Did anyone notice that there was a lot of commercials in this Raw? I mean, it felt like it, but I don't know. Maybe it was just me, because it felt like they were going to commercial just a teeny bit more than they usually do. Maybe it has something to do with their monetary issues, but whatevs. I mean, that's going to be a problem if it's going to be that way every week. But 1 week, okay, it's forgivable. Every week, it's not going to be forgivable. So don't be doing this to gain more money. You make money. You make a lot of money off of t-shirts and action figures. You're going to be making probably a lot of money off of this new video game because it's going to be better than that 2K17 piece of shit that you released last year, which I did not buy because I heard so many bad things about it. So it's going to be my first time in 2 years buying a game from WWE. Anyway, back from the break, and the champs are standing in the ring. The announcers led us to a video package on John Cena and Roman Reigns. We go back out into the ring, and out comes Cesaro with Sheamus. The bell rings, and Rollins controls early on. Cesaro goes to the floor for a breather as the referee counts. Cesaro drops Rollins over the top as he comes back in. Rollins takes back control and hits a running knee. Rollins with a standing moonsault for a 2 count. Rollins with stomps in the corner now, and these stomps were pretty vicious too. They weren't like Nakamura good vibrations. They were like trying to stomp a mud hole in him. Anyway, Rollins goes down after missing in the corner. Cesaro tosses Rollins to the floor and distracts the referee. Sheamus comes walking over to Rollins, but Ambrose meets him. They end up back in the ring, and Cesaro catches Rollins in a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker as we go back to a commercial, which that looked very painful. Back from the break, and Rollins is looking for a comeback, but Cesaro drops him and nails a leg drop for a 2 count. Cesaro with a pair of big suplexes for another pin attempt. And I'm going to tell you, those suplexes, just the ability of Cesaro is just amazing. I mean, he can pick people up and just drop them down, and he does these weird, completely physically what we would think would be impossible things, which is why this is such a great feud, because you have 4 adept men. I mean, I don't know how you're going to top New Day and the Usos and, Sheamus and Cesaro and Dean and Seth. I mean, those 2 feuds right now are carrying your tag divisions. Anyway, I'm sorry. Getting back to it. Cesaro with the big slam. Cesaro goes to the top for a 2 count. Rollins rolls an enziguri. Rollins goes on and hits a sling blade. Rollins counters and hits a blockbuster. Rollins goes to the top, but Cesaro uppercuts him, and you could hear the crack on the uppercut, by the way. Cesaro climbs up for a suplex, but Rollins fights him. Rollins nails a suicide bomb, which looked pretty smooth. Sheamus tries to interfere, but Ambrose breaks it up at ringside. Cesaro hits a distracted Rollins with an uppercut and takes a cover for the win. Yeah, Rollins was kind of looking outside about what was happening to Sheamus and Dean Ambrose, and just freaking Cesaro came up and just pow, and you could hear the crack on the jaw, and he just dropped like that. I mean, he just, and I was a little worried he might have hit him too hard, but yeah, it definitely looked legit, so not bad. After the match, Cesaro and Sheamus stand tall at ringside as we go to replays. Sheamus and Cesaro celebrate as Ambrose checks on Rollins in the ring. Sheamus takes off his jacket and takes to the mic. Sheamus says the night isn't over yet, as he has made a match with Ambrose next. Sheamus enters the ring and Ambrose gets ready. Now, I want to ask one thing. What the fuck is with that Dragon Ball Z fusion dance that Sheamus and Cesaro use when they're coming out? Has anyone noticed that? The way they just kind of go like this? I mean, seriously? I mean, are you all that nerdy, or is that just me? It's like, nerds! Anyway, the bell rings and they go right at it. Sheamus runs into a big shot in the corner. Ambrose unloads with chops in the corner. Sheamus drops Ambrose and turns it around. Ambrose clotheslines Sheamus over the top. Sheamus catches Ambrose and sends him into the barrier. We go to commercial again. Back from the break, and Ambrose goes to the top, but Sheamus catches him. Sheamus climbs up for a superplex, but Ambrose resists. Ambrose headbutts Sheamus to the mat. Ambrose comes off the top, but Sheamus catches him in an Irish curse backbreaker for a 2 count, which that looked very painful when he caught him and just wham, slammed him down right onto his knee. That shit did not look easy. Sheamus with the stretch muffler submission now. Ambrose counters, but Sheamus power bombs him for another 2 count. And Sheamus had him in a stretch muffler, and then Ambrose he countered it because he actually used the weight of his body and like sat back up on his shoulders and just started beating his head, and then so basically he countered that with a sit down power bomb. So yeah, and at that point Ambrose looked like he injured his hip. So I don't know how bad that was. I mean, I'll keep everybody informed, but it did look like he probably injured his hip in some way, shape, or form. So I hope that that's not a permanent injury. Sheamus goes for the cloverleaf submission now and gets it locked. Ambrose eventually makes it to the bottom rope and breaks the hold. Sheamus with a forearms to the chest. On the apron now, Sheamus goes for white noise, but Ambrose counters and turns it into a DDT. Ambrose unloads in the middle of the ring now. Sheamus with a boot to the face. Ambrose with a swinging neck breaker for a 2 count. More back and forth between the two. Sheamus goes for more forearms in the corner. Ambrose fights him. Ambrose goes to the top. Cesaro walks over for a distraction. And this is where it gets kind of crazy because the ref was distracted at the very end of this, which is how it was all possible. Cesaro walks over for a distraction, but Rollins walks over. Sheamus climbs up with Ambrose as he hits a rolling senton from the top for a close 2 count. Sheamus walks for a brogue kick, but Ambrose avoids it. Sheamus blocks dirty deeds. Ambrose comes off the top ropes and floors Sheamus. Cesaro gets on the apron, but Rollins runs over and pulls him off. He pulled him on the leg and he hit his face coming down. So yeah, he definitely pulled him off. The referee is distracted by Cesaro, allowing Rollins to springboard it with a knee to break up a white noise attempt. Hit him right in the face. So, yeah, he broke it up. Rollins immediately dives out and takes Cesaro down on the floor, leading to a dirty deeds from Ambrose to Sheamus to pin Sheamus. So, here's the thing. Classic 50-50 booking. You know, you're going to let one member of one tag team win and one member of the other tag team win. Classic 50-50 booking. These were both great matches, but if I'm WWE, maybe I let one tag team win. You're 4 weeks away or you're like 3.5 weeks away at this point from your next pay-per-view. You know, maybe, I don't know. I think it's 4 weeks. It's September 24th, so I think it is 4 weeks. But, you know, this is... I see no reason why these two had to fight each other, and why in the process you had to bury Gallows and Anderson. I mean, granted, if I were to book this, I'd be burying Gallows and Anderson anyway, just not to Cena and fucking Roman Reigns. I would have done it versus either, Sheamus and Cesaro, or Dean and Seth. Hardys were in that battle royal. Why? I just, at this point, I had to start, at least the crowd at this point started, or at least at the end of this match, started coming alive. But my goodness, they were dead upon arrival coming into that, definitely. After the match, the champs stand tall in the ring, and we go to the replays. Emma's backstage with Mickie James, betting she can get We Want Emma to outtrend MTV's Video Music Awards on Twitter. She wonders what people will tweet after their match tonight. They argue about the women's revolution and hashtags. Why the fuck are we arguing about hashtags and what we can do at the MTV Video Music Awards? And why the fuck are you giving MTV a free pop? Are you really that much of a beggar dog now that you need X amount of money from third parties because you feel like you need to just whore yourselves out? Give me a fucking break, WWE. I mean, really? Are we really gonna worry about hashtags? This should be about wrestling. Because we watch Raw because we want wrestling. If you're not gonna give us wrestling, then you're failing as a brand. Back from the break, and out comes Mickie James. Emma's out next with a new theme song. That's one thing that happened. Emma does have a new theme song. It's kind of meh. I mean, it's... I don't really know what to think of it. It's okay. I'm not going to say it's horrible, but it's not entirely the greatest. So they lock up, and Emma takes control. Mickie eventually turns it around with a neck breaker. Mickie with more offense and a knee kick. Emma gets the win out of nowhere after dropping down on top of Mickie for a pin. This match was way too short, and you're making you're making a joke out of Mickie James. And why the fuck did you move Mickie James out of NXT so quickly? What was the point? I mean, Mickie James could have been the alpha right now that NXT needs, considering that they dropped the title. But you're going to move her to SmackDown and then trade her to Raw, and for what? Just move her back to SmackDown in this supposed shakeup that you're having in 2 weeks. Just do it, because you're wasting our time here with Mickie James. I just feel like Mickie James isn't going to work. Emma, I think you're trying to build on. I like how it's a slow burn. But Mickie James just feels like you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. She doesn't belong here. She's a wrestler. She's really not a mic person. And what was with Mickie James's costume? I feel like she should have came out tonight to walk like an Egyptian with that tiara on. I mean, it's like weird. but whatever. The women are going to dress the way they're going to dress, but Mickie James should have, by all rights, kicked Emma's ass. I mean, you're going to have a 6-time women's champion lose to, a no-time women's champion? I don't know if she was a women's champion in NXT. And she's sitting there fucking saying that she was the one who started the women's revolution? No. No. You want to know who started the women's revolution? There were 2 women that started the women's revolution. It was Paige and it was fucking AJ Lee. They are the ones that started the women's revolution. And let me repeat that for all of you fucking YouTube people that want to stay other people. It was Paige and AJ Lee. And do you want to know why? Because they didn't give a shit about being beautiful or having big breasts or being a model. It was about being a good wrestler. And allow me to repeat that. Being a good wrestler. They were the ones that were the precursors to the 4 horsewomen that came just a couple years later. But not even they started the women's revolution. It was AJ Lee and Paige. End of discussion. Back from the break, and Raw general manager Kurt Angle is for a contract signing. He's here to make the officially big match that was announced on WWE's website earlier today. Angle calls out John Cena to the ring. Now I'm going to tell you, just before I even go on here, this is a mistake. It's a mistake because, why would people last week be saying you both suck and actually want this match? I mean, personally, I don't care about this match. You could have easily had this match on Raw. But, because these are the 2 people that Vince and Kevin Dunn think are carrying the company, this is like, oh my God, this is WrestleMania type match. We gotta have it at the next pay-per-view. We gotta do it now before football season. Now! Give me a break. This is not a big deal to most people. This was inevitable to most people, I'll give you that much, but why do we care? I feel like people do not care. They genuinely don't. Anyway, Cena says this match is WrestleMania worthy. Bullshit. But Angle is ready to get it done now. Cena says this is why he came to Raw, to step in the ring with the big dog. Cena says Reigns hasn't been just the blue chip prospect. He's been the blue chip prospect that's been protected against anyone in his path. Now I'm going to tell you something. Before I read the rest of this segment felt like Roman was being given the SAT to be the next John Cena as far as promo giving, and B, it sounded like those 2 were talking shit about each other, and I don't think necessarily that they like each other, because boy did Cena, he poked some fun. at Roman Reigns. I mean, this was shit talking 101, and I just feel like Roman Reigns, he got upset there for a minute. Now, okay. Cena talks about himself and how there's no protection there. Cena says he wants to fight Reigns because he knows Reigns doesn't want to fight him. The music interrupts and out comes Reigns to some boos. Again, most of the crowd was dead that night. Reigns wants to get this straight. He's scared to fight Cena? Reigns wonders if that's what it is in Cena's head. Reigns says somebody probably won't understand, or Cena won't probably understand this, because no one has ever said this to him, but Cena is not as big of a deal as he thinks he is. Reigns says he's done something Cena will never be able to do. He retired The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Reigns says maybe he just doesn't need to fight Cena. Cena ends up calling Reigns a corporate Cena bootleg. I'm going to say that at this point was when I started to listen, because to say that, which is how many people view him, is that's a big thing coming from Cena. So this is when I started to listen. So we call him a corporate Cena bootleg. So lost my place here. Let me find it. Okay, Cena says Reigns isn't the guy. He's just a guy trying desperately to fill the shoes he can never fill. Cena says to listen to him carefully, young man. He's not The Undertaker. He's not a battered veteran with a bad hip at the end of his career. Cena's the fastest and strongest he's ever been. Cena says Reigns knows if he signs that contract, his Roman Empire can't see me. Reigns comes back and says fans don't boo Cena because they want him to be a bad guy. They boo him because he sucks. Yes, Cena at this point, I think, mentioned something about going heel, and people really just popped for that. So, I don't know. Maybe this is where we do see Cena go heel, and they keep trying to push Reigns as a face, which is dumb. I think they should be pushing Reigns as the heel in this situation. Anyway, Cena makes a joke about Angle getting the "you suck" chance and Reigns telling him to shut up. Reigns looks to be searching for words, and Cena disses him. He was like, yeah, I'll wait. Cena was like, I'll wait, let's figure it out. This is your first shoot. He really just buried him there. And you could tell by the look on his face, is like, fuck you. I honestly think that was... This is where things got interesting. Reigns tells him to shut up again. Reigns ends up calling Cena a fake bitch. A part-timing fake bitch. Reigns goes on about Cena being a part-timer and how he buries younger talents, which I think has been said by umpteen million people, but is very true. Reigns says that's how Cena stays on top of the mountain, because Reigns calls him a backstabbing shark. Reigns says what bothers Cena is that he can't bury Reigns. He can't touch him. Reigns says he's the one guy in the WWE who Cena can't see. Reigns asked why he would want to lessen himself, the bloodline, and his legacy to be the next John Cena when he could be the one and only Roman Reigns. Seems to me like Roman Reigns is trying to, I don't know, maybe make himself look not like a John Cena. And everybody pretty much sees him that way, as a John Cena. Anyway, Cena says Reigns is a fool, a damn fool. Cena says Reigns, of all people, comes down to the ring and uses the same poor excuses that the others in front of him have done. Reigns, with all his abilities, has the gall to blame Cena. Cena congratulates Reigns, saying it took him 5 years to cut a half-decent promo, but now Cena is about to cut him down to size. Cena says everyone thinks he has a magical golden shovel. Well, yeah, you kind of do. Just ask Baron Corbin. Cough, cough. Anyway, Cena can't tell if Reigns is blind or stupid. Cena says the fans have always held the keys and always will. I don't necessarily believe that. I think your golden shovel, along with those you have buried along with it, definitely would disagree with you. Like, how about you go grab Baron Corbin and ask him if he believes that, you ass. Cena goes on mentioning how he won the United States title and used it to help guys like AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. This is true. That US Open Challenge was a platform for newer guys and newer talent in WWE. I think that Kevin Owens is a great example. AJ Styles, I think, was going to be successful regardless. But AJ and Cena, over the in 2016 was definitely a thing. He says Roman took the U.S. title as a demotion, which he definitely did once he won it from Rusev. Cena says he's still here because Reigns can't do his job. Cena goes on and says Reigns should be ashamed because he can do this better part-time than Reigns could ever do it full-time. Cena drops the mic and the crowd gets all riled up with him. Cena has signed the contract. Reigns signs the contract and Cena loves it. Reigns flips the table over and they face off. The music interrupts and out comes Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. This is something I didn't quite understand. And I like, why Gallows and Anderson? And why put them in a tag match when you're trying to build heat between the two stars? I mean, if it's me, I leave it at that. I don't try to make them both good guys. I mean, I realize you're trying to make it face versus face, but why? What's the point? Yeah, I mean, one guy here has to be the heel. I can understand heel versus heel because that happens for a lot. But face versus face, especially at this capacity, it's only going to happen if the people have respect for each other. And this is this whole situation that I'm about to read just didn't work for me booking wise tonight either. So Cena goes on and okay, so yeah, they're headed to the ring to beat up a bunch of nerds. Angles makes a tag match for right now, and we go to commercial. Yet again, another commercial. Back from the break, and Gallows is going at it with Cena. Cena turns around and calls for a 5-knuckle shuffle, showing it off while Reigns mocks him. Anderson runs in to interfere, but Cena slams him. This allows Gallows the chance to drop to the floor with Cena. As Reigns smiles, Gallows drops Cena in the corner and tags in Anderson for the double team. Gallows comes back in and hits a suplex on Cena. Gallows with a leg drop for a 2 count. Gallows keeps Cena grounded as Reigns reaches for a tag. Cena reaches for the tag, but Reigns doesn't look interested. Cena gets out and knocks Anderson off the apron. Cena turns around and Gallows is running him over. Anderson tags in and works Cena over. Anderson keeps Cena grounded. Cena ends up going for an attitude adjustment, but it's blocked. Anderson with a spine buster on Cena for a 2 count. Reigns continues to mock Cena. Yeah, Gallows and Anderson did a good job in this match of cutting the ring in half and keeping Cena on his side of the ring, while Reigns just kind of had a time to sit there and mock John Cena. Gallows tags back in and unloads on Cena. Cena avoids a shot and Gallows goes down. Reigns tags in and unloads on Anderson. Oh, okay. Gallows tags back in and unloads on Cena. Cena avoids a shot and Gallows goes down. Okay. At the point where Reigns tags in, if I am Roman Reigns and I am this pissed off at Cena, why am I tagging in John Cena? Why? What's the point? If I'm Roman Reigns, I'm walking away and saying, hey, have him. Kick his ass. I could give a shit. But you're allowing him to tag you in? Why? What is this? Are you trying to measure something? Because this is all that this is basically proving to me, is that the two of you are trying to measure if you can carry the company. So this did not impress me at all. Booking wise, you have him walk away and you have him say fuck you. That if you are going to make him a heel and you are going to try to do this as a heel instead of good guy versus good guy, instead of just this illogical booking, then that's where you should have done it, and Reigns should have never tagged in. Anyway, Reigns tags in and unloads on Anderson. He also comes back in. Gallows comes in and Reigns also fights him off. Reigns unloads on Anderson in the corner and fans count along. Reigns taunts Cena before hitting a drive-by on Gallows. Reigns returns to the top to the ring and drops Anderson. Reigns stands tall to a mixed reaction. Reigns calls for a Superman punch, but Gallows grabs his leg from the floor, allowing Anderson to roll him up for a 2 count. Reigns hits a Superman punch on Anderson. Gallows comes in, but he eats a Superman punch right to the mouth. Cena scoops up Gallows on his shoulders. Cena drops Gallows with the attitude adjustment as Reigns spears Anderson. Reigns and Anderson are pinned for the win. So, basically, that's... I mean, why have a match here? Why? What possible good does this do? It doesn't do any good. In fact, this is where I would have stuck another cruiserweight match if I'm WWE. But instead, you had a completely illogical, nonsensical tag team match that further buries the club. You know, Gallows and Anderson did not need this. And the way they're eating losses, their win-loss record is going to start looking like Bray Wyatt pretty soon. Anyway, back from the break, and Elias is in the ring with a spotlight and his guitar. He introduces himself and asks who wants to walk with Elias tonight. He mentions being in the Battle Royal earlier and says they didn't go as planned. Fans have no one to blame but all of the fans. He says a long time ago, WWE Hall of Famer Dusty Rhodes called him the Elvis of WWE. He talks about coming into Memphis earlier and passing Sun Records, which inspired a song. He sings Nothing But a Bad Town as a parody of Nothing But a Hound Dog by Elvis. He's interrupted by hometown star Jerry Lawler, who leaves commentary and comes to the stage, ends up introducing Pelvis Wesley, who is Heath Slater on Southpaw Wrestling, for those that don't know. So it was basically Heath Slater in an Elvis, costume. Pelvis dances to the ring as Elias waits. Pelvis invites Elias to dance with him in the ring, but he's not interested. Elias drops Pelvis Wesley and goes to work on him. Elias nails Pelvis with Drift Away and stands over Pelvis as his music plays. Still to come, Bliss vs. Bay is back from commercial. Okay, we go to the ring, and then next is the Raw title match, Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. FYI, this was the main event of the night, which I sort of, booking-wise, I would have opened the show with this and closed it with the Intercontinental, but, I'm okay with this, but this sort of, I don't know, I guess, I don't want to be disrespectful to the women. The match was decent, but I didn't like the outcome. But I'll talk about that in a minute. We go to the ring, and out comes Alexa Bliss for tonight's main event, and then we go back to the commercial. Yet again, another commercial. This show was so commercial heavy. Just 3 hours, I guarantee 45 minutes of it was fucking commercials. I would almost put money on it. Back from the break, and out comes Raw Women's Champion Sasha Banks. We get formal ring introductions from JoJo. Yeah, boy. And I'll tell you, when they said this match is slated for one fall, That's the first time we got a one fall from the whole crowd that whole night. I'm sure they were waiting for it. Bliss, okay. We get formal ring, okay. Bliss with an early pin attempt. Back and forth as Bliss goes for another pin attempt. Yeah, Alexa Bliss was just doing roll-up pin into roll-up pin, which is a dangerous strategy against someone's who basically has a crippler crossface as a finisher. Banks goes for an early Banks statement. Sasha Banks takes Bliss to the corner and unloads. Banks works on the arm and keeps Bliss grounded for now. Sasha ends up nailing a drop kick, sending Bliss to the floor for a breather. Sasha keeps control and drops Bliss on the floor with the knees before we go back to commercial. Back from the break, and Bliss has control of Banks now. Bliss used the barrier on the apron on Sasha during the break. Sasha gets to her feet and fights back in the middle of the ring, but Bliss slams her on the back of her neck. Bliss with a 2 count. Bliss with more offense, taking Sasha back into the corner. Bliss with another pin attempt. Bliss with a bow and arrow submission now. Banks gets free and nails a kick. Sasha comes back to his knees and hits the knees. Excuse me. She goes for the running knees in the corner, but Bliss scrambles to the floor and Sasha collides with the turnbuckles. And this was an ugly collision, too. I mean, I'm surprised that Sasha's and wasn't, like, bleeding from the nose or something. Bliss goes to the top. Sasha decks her with a forearm. Bliss goes for a crossbody, but Sasha moves and she hits the mat. Sasha rolls Bliss up for a 2 count. Bliss with a pin attempt now. Sasha with more offense and another 2 count. Sasha runs into a huge right hand. Bliss drops Banks again for another close 2 count. Bliss throws a fit on the mat now. Bliss unloads on Sasha and hits double knees, which looked very nice, by the way. Those double knees were very good looking. So she's really starting to look good with that. Then a moonsault. Sasha comes back with a Shining Wizard for a 2 count. Sasha rams Bliss back into the corner and works her over. Bliss fights back, but Sasha drops her in the corner. Sasha with charging double knees. Sasha goes to the top of but Bliss cuts her off and climbs up. Bliss goes for a suplex and nails it. Yeah, I think Bliss crawls over for a pin, but Sasha catches her in the bank statement. Bliss turns that into a 2 count. Bliss drops Sasha again and covers her for the pin and the title. Now, I want to go over 2 things. At some point during this match, it was towards the end, I think that Alexa Bliss hit a Canadian pile driver or something, because it looked pretty damn impressive. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So, and that was a move that I'm pretty sure was banned for a while from WWE. So, but with how small or short, depending on how you want to look at it, Alexa Bliss is, I could see that happening with her and her making that her move. But Alexa Bliss won. After the match, Alexa Bliss celebrates as Nia Jax comes out to join her. Nia floors Sasha in the corner. Nia lifts Bliss on her shoulders to celebrate, but drops her in a Samoan drop out of nowhere. Jax raises the title and stands tall over Bliss. Okay. Here's the thing. I called this one, and I did. I called this before it even happened. I called it. And I really... This was very, very, very easy to tell. And WWE, it's just, they don't want Alexa Bliss to lose. And it's incredibly easy to gauge whether how they're looking at their stars just based on how they're treating them. So who is Alexa Bliss gonna face at No Mercy? And who's gonna get traded? Are they gonna trade Sasha Banks to SmackDown, which I think would be a great thing for her? I mean, obviously she was one of the women that was, showcased in one of the No Mercy commercials. And this was at SummerSlam. They showed this commercial. And I'm like, well, she's not losing the title. And even when they gave her Sasha the rematch, I'm like, she's still losing the title. So, and I called this, and been calling this for like 2 weeks now. So I called this right, and I knew this was gonna happen. So I mean, you have illogical booking and obvious booking in the same show. I mean, you've got Jeff, who is now pinholed into a situation I wouldn't want to be pinholed in. Because if I'm Jeff Hardy, I don't want to fucking take a loss to The Miz. Nor do I want to be screwed out of the Intercontinental title. So, I mean, what do? And if they give Jeff Hardy the Intercontinental title, then what? I mean, then you're throwing... I mean, what happens? I mean, now at least Bray and Finn have something to fight over, which that makes more sense. But if Bray gets traded, that all goes away. And if Finn gets traded, that all goes away. I mean, that's why this is not the time, because you're finally being able to do something with these stars. So I don't know who and what are gonna get traded, but Finn and Bray, no matter what, should be on the same brand, and it should be that way. Anyway, this video is going on way too long, so I will tell you this: I will have an update on the Mae Young Classic probably later on this week. I will have, I'll have news and rumors. I'll try and do that Mae Young Classic video on Wednesday, since NXT is much shorter. It's not like it's a 3-hour Raw. So, and I'll just be watching Mae Young Classic and taking notes. Break out the list of Jericho, and do that. But for now, I am Gary Maloney, and I am signing out.